And we're filming this podcast right now. And I think that this is, step one on the road to being the first trillionaire to hit the ground running at Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio. We are probably going to be the heroes of the world. We're probably going to save humanity, and we're going to do it in style, and we're going to do it wearing the same shoes that we wore when we was broke. I mean, only a multi-billionaire. But give me an intro about yourself. I just want to know more about Zachary Theory Sudal and what makes him special, and maybe that we can bounce back ideas. We can share new theory relations with each other, share new revelations, new profound insights into the life of Zachary Theory. I'd like to know more about that.
I'm just trying to get this shit right. What looks best?
Bro, that looks terrible.
Does it?
Just bring it down low. Trust.
So, I will tell you a little bit about me. Why am I on this shit? What am I doing? What's the message? What's the intention behind them? Whatever you want to call it.
Tell them what's up.
So, I feel like growing up, life was pretty simple, but I feel like too simple. I feel like for me, there was some guidance. However, not a lot of guidance. I didn't have an older brother. And my dad was like doing a bunch of things to get credentials, to get more money, to support the family. Not his fault. And I don't blame him. So I was kind of in a figure stuff out yourself kind of dynamic. I didn't mind that because sometimes it hits more when you actually have real life experience and you can relate those experiences because you have a reference point.
Okay.
I think on top of that, a good thing also is to learn from others. Like if someone is working out and they get injured, you don't want to make the same mistake. You want to learn from theirs. So that's what I'm about. I feel like I've experienced. I'm almost 22 now, and I've been seeking discomfort, seeking experience, so I can teach other people. I have a younger brother as well, and I like for him to learn from me. And I have a sort of ideology, a sort of image that I believe in, and I'd like to introduce it to others who also have a similar ideology to help them develop it more and to encourage them in a healthy manner.
What's your ideology?
So my ideology is I believe that it's important to be strong. It's important to be a person who pursues things. I learned from my dad. I'd say as of recently, I've started to learn more from him because he just has more time. And some of the things that I've learned from is even though he didn't have to, he put in the hours and the work and just like the fucking crazy studying for, I forget what the highest rank of CFA. He did the highest rank of the CFA, something like that, for accounting. And he didn't have to do that. Like, we could have just stayed in New Jersey and stuff. But he did that, and that left an impression on me. So I believe that the lesson that that's taught me is to be a leader, to, even though if you don't feel like it, what should be done is different of what you want. Because I'm sure so many times he didn't want to do the shit that he did, but he did it anyways. And I like that. I think that's really an important message. Do the things that you need to do to be successful in a career, financially stable. That's very important, and we'll go more into that, why. I feel like if you are a financial secure person, an independent person, that helps a lot. I think it is, one, a stress thing. Like, if you have money, you don't have to be like, oh, sorry, guys. can't go to McDonald's.
Oh,
Or
no.
it's just like a certain type of stress that fucking sucks. And I feel bad for people who are just like kind of fucked in financially. Two, it is essential for a family. I think if you are building a family, and I know I'm not like trying to do that anytime. I'm just saying for future reference because I believe in planning.
You're
Finances is important. If you want to have a girlfriend, you got to be nice and provide her with things so she can in return provide you with things. I think it's a relationship that is secure, not only emotionally, financially, is just way better from my experience. And to wrap this up, what the ideology is just excellence, pushing, becoming a fantastic person in health, and a fantastic resource, a fantastic role model.
I agree. I think that there's also a certain comfort in knowing these things, knowing these aspects of life that you're going to have in your trajectory, because I think most people are a bit aimless, especially at 20, 21, 22. And we're around campus and I see these people, they're just kind of walking around and I can tell that they don't really have much in their head besides kind of what's right in front of them. They're kind of just super focused about, how can I do this assignment? Oh, I got to go to class. Oh, I got to please this professor. Oh, I got to do this thing by 3 o'clock today, and then I got to go out tonight because it's Friday. And my friends are wanting to go out, and fuck, I don't know if I want to go out because I went out on Thursday. It's like, I just remember being in that life, and now that I'm outside of it, you get a lot of clarity from, I like to call it the world, like being away from the world a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of had this too, being outside of campus pretty much the whole time. I mean, for those who don't know, Zach and I both, we started going to university off campus, and I've taken a hiatus in the last probably year or so. But you've kind of always been around that campus life, but also returning back to your home every day to get, and I feel like that probably helped you get distance from seeing what other people are doing and seeing how you can not do everything different to them. Not saying that every student is bad or every student has total degenerate intentions, but I don't know. Give me your insight about always having or not living on campus and kind of being away from the normal people. I say the normal people, but there's a lot of weird characters on this fucking campus, bro. A lot of interesting characters.
Good question. I think that there's pros and cons to both of them. Commuting off campus versus living on campus, being around it. I definitely think that your atmosphere affects you. If you were to be in an atmosphere where everybody's lazy, it's inevitable for you to be more lazy. It's just like a atmosphere potion shit. And
But everyone has a spell on them.
Sort of. And I wouldn't say that that's the only factor. Like, if a highly productive person is in a degenerate environment, I feel like, yes, they will take a toll. However, if they have the willpower, they might take themselves away from that environment momentarily, like go to the library, do all that shit, and stay out of the degenerate type areas.
Environments.
Now,
or get sucked into it.
Yeah.
Have that pressure.
It's kind of like a mindset. If you had a direction in your life and you said, I want to be a doctor. Well, being surrounded on campus, they might stay in more. And typically doctors are like the stereotypical kind of academic, disciplined, maybe lacking social
Health
skills, don't
junkies,
go
yeah.
out. So I feel like from the start, it starts before that, because what that person has is foundations and characteristics already set up for being a doctor, studying, all that. And I believe the same is applicable to me.
Okay.
I was always the person who didn't really give a fuck about drinking. Like, dude, I don't drink. I've never had an alcoholic beverage in my house, in my life. I will like nibble a fucking drink. Like,
yeah.
I'll take like this.
Little bird sip.
The amount of alcohol I've ingested in my whole life
Mm-hmm.
is probably about that much. I'm not even fucking joking.
That's crazy.
Why is this? Because from the beginning, and I guess I'm lucky. I guess I found the right resources, and I'm grateful for them. I knew I didn't want to do any of this dumb shit. Like, why is it so fun to go and with music blasting your
Rub
fucking ear out?
shoulders with random like sweaty dudes? Doesn't sound fun to you?
Only at Bullwinkles.
Wow. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
But
So
I agree. There's it's such a slippery slope, because in the moment, if you're with the right people and, you know, say you start chatting with the galdem or meeting some new people on the street or whatever, like, it's slippery because you can have a really, really fun time. And like, people don't do it necessarily because they're addicted, but I think they just lack.
they're using it as like a replacement to fill something that's not there.
They lack the actual like purposeful actions that would be a better replacement of time to doing stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have fun doing those things, or maybe once in an occasion it's like not okay to, you know, do, or you should never have fun.
Exactly.
Because I think that's the best balance or it's like a sweet reward of doing a lot of work, is that you actually get to those occasions and you feel like, okay, this is actually purposeful, because it's kind of the, you know, just a reward, and it can feel like there's something at the end of the tunnel of just working all day. But then the problem is when you go out so often, or you're getting constant lunches with your friends, or you're just watching too much TV to where you feel like you're filling some type of void that you can't identify, you can't pinpoint what you should be doing. So then you just kind of fill that time with hedonism.
Right. Yeah, I feel like there is definitely a balance between going out and working.
Yeah.
Some people, it's just like, it looks way different than other people. I think with what you just said, the people that go out a lot, go to lunch a lot, I think that's a lack of direction. I feel like the typical person, the normal person, has X amount of things to do in the day, and that's it. Now, let me tell you something about the normal person versus the above average person. The normal person does, typically, from what I've seen and in my own experience, does what the normal person does the bare minimum amount of things. They go to work, maybe gym 30 minutes, hobby, and the rest is like empty space.
Yeah.
So they don't know what to do with the empty space, so they
point.
fill it with like going clubbing. Now, let me
Watching
tell you
Family Guy.
about the above average person. That person is not super different from the normal person. The above average person, let's say, goes to work, does the hobby, does whatever, goes to the gym, does the hobby. But instead of filling the extra time with random bullshit, they just make their work longer.
They just fill with more work.
The gym bigger, make the hobbies bigger. That's, in my opinion, what's the difference? Or excuse me, that's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
But I think every or the way that an average person will live is the same thing, or it's the same structure as kind of like what you're saying. It's the same structure, but I'll put it this way. Someone who's exceptional, they all started out average. Like they
Right.
all, it was a learned, habitual expansion over time. Like no one just came out the womb fucking doing 100 push-ups in the morning and then taking a damn cold shower and then hitting a G-work session for like 3 times per day and having like minimal amounts of like dopaminergic
Right.
activity indulgences. But that's where I look at people who waste their time now, and half of me looks down upon it, but then the other half is like, dude, that was me 2 years ago, not even, maybe like a year and a half ago. And so maybe they're just at a different point in their own timeline of finding that light, of doing the right thing on a consistent basis and actually having like a purposeful direction. And some people may never actually reach that point where they find something that is truly meaningful to them and something that they can actually build a purposeful life around. That just, that might not be the case, and they might just forever be doing, these hedonistic things their whole existence, which actually is probably the more likely case. But yeah, that's the way I see it. It's kind of, it's a balance between feeling empathetic towards them and understanding that I used to be at that point, and then also realizing, okay, I might just be a couple further relations down the line, couple more months of practicing what I'm preaching down the line. But yeah, so I used to really look down on people, and I would just be so hateful towards all people who didn't think like me, who wanted to be different, to be that anomaly. I just used to look down at everyone, and it started this kind of negative spiral in my head where I'm just like constantly thinking I'm better than everyone. And then until I look back at my life and I realized, oh fuck, like for 10 years I was literally the same, doing the same shit they were. And there's still times where I catch myself doing that shit too. So it's, everyone's human. It's just who succumbs to the humanness more.
That's pretty valid. I think that's good that you acknowledge that. I feel like that's natural. I feel like sometimes you kind of, it's like when we were young, we didn't really have consciousness. And then at a certain age, you realize, oh, fuck.
Up. Yeah.
I'm in this bitch for real.
I got to do something. Make movement.
Yeah. And I think with you realize that, and you're just like, that's your gift. Your gift is your consciousness, your ability to, okay, I have to fucking do something. I'm not just going to sit here fucking make fucking
Do
nothing out of my life.
day.
Yeah. So, and I think some people don't have that level of self-respect and accountability. Sometimes people, and I think it's a mindset thing. I mean, I'm sure it's like,
yeah, it's all a mindset thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's some kind of, it might be like, oh, genetics to a degree, but I feel like after a certain point,
a divine intervention of sparking someone with more, I don't know, substance than other people. And there's no doubt about that some people's lives are genuinely more destined to be interesting than others. Like that some people are born with 2 aces, and some people are born with a 2 and a damn 10, and they have to live with that. And I think you have to look at people who are born with the 2 and the 10 out of suit, and you have to reason with them like, damn, they were fucking, I don't know if it wasn't meant to be, or like that's where it gets into that divine argument. But
Mm.
and I'm not saying I'm some fucking God's gift, right? But I think there's a certain awareness, a certain consciousness that people like you and me have that some people just they couldn't wrap their head around. They couldn't wrap their head around trying to stick out, or like you'll explain your ideas to them. Like it could be your parents, it could be your siblings or something, or like distant relatives, and they're asked what you're doing, and they can't possibly wrap their head around the fact that you're not doing what everyone else is doing. But then they also will probably in the same thought process acknowledge that all of the people who stuck out in society, all the actors and musicians and celebrities, or even just people who are experts at their craft that maybe are not like famous in any way, they're all different to people because they did what no one else did. And so it's weird that people can kind of acknowledge that the people that they look up to are so exceptional, and then wonder, like deeply wonder why someone who's close to them or someone in their own circle is trying to make that happen. And I know I was very like vague, but you get the picture. It's like, yeah, I think you're right. It is a mindset thing, and it's something that can be like you can be awakened to, I guess. Some people like they don't know that they're living that like robot life until someone else comes in and points it out to them, and then they can finally say, oh shit, I've been living like a damn AI robot for my entire life, just following the same set like Sims route, like NPC Sims route.
It is crazy. Shit, man. Now I want to get into maybe how society, Silicon Valley developers, kind of, maybe that their intention isn't to promote it, at least all of them, but a result of social media and all that shit is keeping people in that robot shit, that robot kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Unintentionally or maybe intentionally.
I think it's intentional. I think there are evil people in this world that like want to fuck everyone's mental health up, fuck everyone's social life up, and to suck the dollar bills out their pocket. But then we can go deeper with this. We can think if we were in their position, would we be tempted to do the exact same thing? What if we were born into royalty? What if we were born as like some tech genius who started Snapchat or who started Instagram and who started seeing that insane amount of revenue coming in, and then having that opportunity to just make a couple orders and make a little tweak to the color of the damn homepage to optimize it in the maximum way to get people to be addicted to your app and to give you more money, which is almost exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to play the game in a way to where we can put as many points on the board as possible. And they're in a position where they're trying to do the same thing. So it kind of wraps back around with my other idea of like, are these people truly evil, or are they, do they just see the world in a different standpoint where they don't really see people as actual humans? They just kind of see us as you know, kind of like pawns on the board, or just little ants from afar. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't see the true impact that it has on real people's emotions.
I see.
And it's kind of like when you're about to land you're on an airplane, you're about to land, or maybe you're just taking off, and you see the cars, and they all blend together. They just look like one big flow of nothing, right? You can't put a name or a face behind those people in the cars. If you saw from a distance one of those cars fucking explode, are you really gonna? Oh my god! Oh, I'm sure he's okay. Call 911 and fucking using a plane Wi-Fi. You're not gonna be doing that. You're just gonna be like, oh shit. So I think these developers who are like simultaneously ruining the world are almost seeing society from that plain point of view. They're so far above everyone that in a way they dehumanize everyone just as a natural consequence of the human brain having that distance and environment.
That's interesting. It's all about, it's kind of like perspective, seeing it from different angles.
Yeah.
And I think what I like doing is every time I go across somebody who does something I'm unfamiliar with or question. So, for example, being more specific, developers who do that shit to make more money and kind of addict people. I think to myself, I don't think, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I think I'm curious. I question what their motive is and what perspective can I see that makes their point of view make sense and like justify that.
Yeah. It's like asking like why Hitler tried to take over the world. It's like there was some thought process in his head where he feel like that was just like the natural thing to do. You know? It's like, are these people truly, truly evil? Like were they born with that like disabled evilness in their, or is it, that's where you get into a deep conversation about justifying horrible actions, because it's kind of a result of a deeper spiral into a behavior that is beyond them, where they feel like it's out of their control, and it's just like the natural, because humans are really animals if you think about it. It's like, why do cats fucking lower their ears when they get scared? It's like humans are a little bit the same way. We chase after status and money and power and love and all the things that are most important to us, almost in like a natural way. And so we might, accidentally look at a chick for too long as she's walking by, or we might try to be a little bit clickbaity with our titles or our videos, because even though it's not morally right, it's like our natural instincts just saying, okay, if I make this title clickbaity, then I'm going to get more attention, more clicks, more money, and that's going to fulfill me more. Like everyone is almost just naturally just moving like a machine just towards the thing that they're instinctively inclined to want. So I almost look at the world leaders are like an amplified version of that, where they have that opportunity. They're at that position where they have the actual access to press a button or make one simple order, and then in a similar way where you look at the girl and make that little tweak to your title of your video. It's like almost just as easy. So yeah, I don't know. Give me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, it goes deep. I feel like I'm at a point where I'm starting to understand it. I don't fully understand it because you get into like I feel like it's just like the triangle shit. The dudes at the top, world leaders. There's
the world
people.
Hierarchy pyramid?
Yeah, the world hierarchy pyramid. Because I know, like you said, there are people in this world who are genuinely evil. There can't be good without evil.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I feel like I have to think about that for a little bit.
It's kind of fucked up.
It is.
Because then you have to question everything.
It is fucked up.
I think one of the best ways of understanding anything is just asking yourself, if I was that, what would I do? Because everyone looks at everyone around them like they're crazy. Like there's things that my mom does, or that fucking my closest friends, even you sometimes, where I'm like, man, how could he think like that? Or like it's just so different to the way that I would do it. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've not grown up with his mental model or the environments that he grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe if I was Zach for a day and I could understand your brain more, then I'd be like, okay, that makes completely sense. Like, but I don't have that power to do that.
Right.
So I'm like, damn. Looking at my cat, I'm like, damn, how's my cat so stupid? Like, but I'm not a cat.
Exactly.
What if I was a cat? What if I had a cat brain? Then it would make sense.
That's true. It's kind of like there's a trend going around. It's like, I don't remember it exactly. I've probably only seen one video of it. And it was saying something along the lines of, was Thanos really wrong? Was Anakin Skywalker really wrong?
That's so
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
like on YouTube, like the analysis video.
Yeah, the analysis videos. And then it goes through and pretty much says, oh, maybe Thanos snapped his finger, a bunch of people died. Pretty fucked up. I mean, I'm sure some people will be like, oh, no. And then it goes deeper into that. There's a line of, okay, Thanos killed a bunch of people, and then he's XYZ. There's like branches to it that you like subcategories.
Like the storyline.
There's so many.
Like,
basically, what I'm saying is there's so many different angles to go deep in, because some people would say, "Oh, what Thanos did, it was actually pretty good for the population XYZ. What Thanos did was bad." Like, there's people with different
takes on it.
Yeah. And that's the interesting.
There's people with opinions. What?
There's people with opinions
online.
And that's interesting, because then you go deeper into that branch that I'm talking about. I don't mean to get too much off topic, but
it's on topic.
Then it's just like, how does that person dictate what their opinion and
like
justify
how you
it or
view
not?
The movie?
Sort of. Because then it goes into philosophy. What's good and what's bad.
Yeah, that's a tricky rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, you don't have definitive opinions on anything. You ever notice like the people with the most stern opinions on things are usually the dumb ones? Like people who are like not speaking absolutes and not in like a comedic way to where it's like funny, some like hot take video.
Okay.
But when you're talking with them in a more intimate setting and they're like, yeah, you know, fucking Trump he's my president, and I can't believe that, like, Biden ruining the damn country, and just I can't believe these damn Democrats. And it could go the other way, like, all these Trumpers are fucking, I can't believe this racism and misogyny is spreading across the country like a wildfire. And I just feel like my feelings, like, both sides are fucked. And that's just America. And that's just one opinion. But it could be truly about anything. Like, I mean, maybe if you have like a favorite movie and you can explain in depth about why it's your favorite movie and you have good reasons backing up your stance on it. Or same with like something really light, that doesn't matter. But when it comes to like overarching, very ambiguous ideas,
heavy,
that can be discussed for in length. People who are really, really like, yeah, it's absolutely this way. There's nothing you can do to change my mind. It's like, I don't fucking trust those people, man. I don't trust the people who don't make a statement like this, where they're like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like this because of X, Y, and Z, and because of the research that I've done. And this is just my opinion. And I think it's like this because of these reasons and how it applies to my life. But, you know, I'm open to hearing the other opinion or the other stances on it. And I think that maybe if I was in this position or if I was this person, you know, I might think different. But, yeah, the way I see it, it's like this. Versus the people who make stances that are super, super direct. You can just tell they're super tunnel vision. You can just tell that they don't critically think about anything and that they take everything at face value. I don't know. Which one are you?
Well, very good question. I think it's important to understand. I feel like what I like doing is being able to analyze. I think being self-conscious about your opinion, and I feel like opinions are opinions. Like, it's all about perspective. And with that being said, I think it's good to have an idea, a reason why you have an opinion, because what you were saying, some people just have a certain model, a certain idea, and they hold on to it. They don't question it. Like, let's make this real easy. Let's say the earth is flat. Some people, some people, it's just like,
it is though. No, actually, the earth is cone shaped.
The earth is cone shaped.
It's Mario shaped. Have you seen that? Mario Earth fucking society.
I haven't heard that. No.
Okay. It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Let's just make this even more simple. The sky is green. You go outside. Oh, the sky is green, and someone just holds on to that. They don't. The point that I'm making. Oh wow, that's
Mario Earth Society. That's gonna be my channel name.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Okay. So the point that I'm trying to make is some people have just a stern fucking idea. They don't even know why they believe it. They just believe it and they go with it. It's kind of like their tunnel vision. They don't really they're not open to understanding or seeing any other perspectives or ideas. It's just like theirs, and they don't care whatever it is. It could be wrong. It could be completely factually wrong. Exactly. The arrogance. And I think other people can acknowledge that and be more fair, open, or at least open to hearing ideas. So I guess that in a way it's kind of different. And that's what I want to get more into debating, just understanding, because it's a whole language. Debating is a whole language. And like if you took a debating class, they would tell you how it's like a skill, like anything.
Yeah.
And they teach you certain things. I'm not very informative on what specifically the different techniques are.
How to debate good.
I'm getting there. I'm learning. Cool. I think it's cool and important. And linking that back with what I was saying is debating is a skill. And I think to be a good debater, to subjectively and to objectively be a good debater, you have to understand your stance and be open to the other idea. You don't have to accept it. It's kind of like Steven Crowder, Change My Mind. Those blew up. But the point that I liked from that was he had a certain stance and he was open to the other stance. He wasn't
afraid of.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Like actively seeked other opinions.
Exactly. He actively
to enhance his own opinion.
He wasn't afraid to be told your opinion's wrong. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid to be challenged.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that also, the best part about that is that it deepens your own knowledge. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you have a skill, the best way to actually confirm that you have a solid understanding of the skills to teach other people and have people ask questions. Because when people actually ask questions about a skill that you think you know and you're like struggling fucking answering it, then that shows you the bleeding edge of your true knowledge. But that also makes it so you can have a bigger catalog of things to say. Mm-hmm. I always judge how much I know about a certain skill or topic based around how much I can talk your head off about it. Like if you just give me a very, I don't know, like a topic that I might know just like a half a bit about, I'll be honest and say like, yeah, I mean, I could probably give you the basic rundown, but I can't give you the full-fledged opinion about every little rabbit hole that you can go into. Like, ask me about music, ask me about drop shipping, ask me about hockey. Those are like the three things I could talk your head off about. But something I'm less interested about, maybe like tech, like the fucking new iPhone, I can only really tell you so much until my knowledge really just gets to, it just kind of reaches its end. And that's best tested through someone questioning you or someone challenging you, like you're talking about. Yeah. So I think that's a great practice, is whenever you think you know a lot about something, just fucking start researching like Reddit forums about the opposite argument, and then read what their arguments is. Read the educated arguments, not the idiots who are just screaming in a comment section. Yeah. But read the educated.
Don't be that guy.
Read the educated, what is it, like stances that are against your argument or against your view, and then logically figure out point by point of why you still believe that the stance that you had beforehand is correct, and why they're wrong. And if you start to see a logic fail in your own argument, or if you can sense yourself coping in a way and still trying to stick to your ego's previous stance, then that's where you become more open-minded, and you start to realize that people aren't as dumb as you think they are. And that usually, if you think strongly about something, have a strong opinion about something, there's almost always a really educated counter response to that stance, and to where you can be open-minded and not judge people and not look down upon them, which clarifies your own stance and makes your mental health stronger, because then it makes you look at the world as more of a open fucking, goddamn, what's the Minecraft reference? Just an open world.
Open world. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think there's certain self-confidence, knowing that you know that your position is correct, reinforced.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's a good point.
And now that I was thinking when you were speaking about how some people, they might not know a lot about a certain thing. However, they have like the skills to make it flashy, intriguing. Maybe they're like a good public speaker or like debater, and they can use the limited knowledge that they have on something and like maximize, maybe like tell a whole interesting ass story about like this small little thing because they've developed that skill set.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's like I was saying, branches on a tree. There's so many different things it takes, or that one would need, so many different tools
to master an idea, or to master a certain niche or skill,
or just because we think of what would be the ideal person, the ideal man. We have to think about all the different branches. They might be, what we were just talking about, good at riffing off of stuff, improving, kind of improvisational skills about certain topics that they might not be super knowledgeable in, but since they have certain skills that might also link to other things like sales. It goes deep.
Yeah. With the overlap too.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap. I think I want to make. I'm gonna put myself to it now. I want to make a diagram or something that kind of that explains my ideal man, my superior man, and I think the audience, the people who are watching that, I think I would like to share that with them, and I think it would also be important and valuable if they were to stop this video or at the end of this video, do that as well. What would my ideal man look like? For some just brief, I'll say good speaking skills, knowledgeable about topics, and reinforced ideas and references to, if you get challenged, know your shit, etc.
Big dong.
Good social skills, being open to different ideologies, always improving, and obviously good health, mental health, etc. So I think that's why this niche is good, and this is why I find this pretty fulfilling. There's so many fucking avenues to go down to talk about. And I think this is like yes, I'm teaching people. Yes, this is a business. On top of it, another thing is I can see myself grow as well. Because maybe to teach if I wanted to teach how to debate, I would have to
become a good debater
myself.
Yeah.
And that's like leveling up XP, getting that XP.
It forces yourself
to become a better man.
And to follow your
Pretty
own
good
teachings. You don't want to be the guy who teaches shit and then just like doesn't live it.
Yeah,
that's the worst, because that'll eat you alive.
I think that's
you make a video about like how to be productive and you don't actually do any of it.
That's what Alex Hormozi said. The dumbest thing a person can do is teach something that they don't know or are not knowledgeable about.
Do as I say, not as I do. I hate that. I hate that. That's like my least favorite phrase. Because it just shows like, why would I ever respect anything you tell me to do if you don't actually do it yourself? Like, what's the value? It's completely valueless. Whatever lesson,
no credibility
or framework of doing anything in life. Why would I ever listen to someone who doesn't actually apply it and who has also seen results with it?
Right.
That's the toughest part about starting a new channel, about teaching other people, is you're having to pull from limited experience, I think. Or not limited experience. I think like not 10, 20 years of experience, if that makes sense. Right. So you're kind of learning on the go. But as you learn, you can pretty much in turn flip it over and say, okay, I just had this experience because I thought in my brain about how to do it a different way than I had normally had done it, and it worked. You're almost testing a new theory. You're testing a new hypothesis on the go and sharing those experiences and results of it that are backed up by experience yourself to help people improve their lives. And you're not just regurgitating shit from a Hormozi video or like a Hamza video.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think a lot of the things that I talk about, I've experienced. I know I might not be the world, I don't know what the hell, Mr. Olympia, bodybuilding champion. But I know
you still tested it,
But I know a lot about lifting, healthy diet, running, stretching, injury prevention. Enough that I can talk about it, and I've had results. So I think in today's day and age, like we were talking about at lunch like a few weeks ago, synthesizing. I think you don't have to be
Gandhi.
Yeah, you don't have to be fucking some crazy ass. You don't have to be a monk to teach spirituality. You could, it depends on what you market yourself as. If you were somebody who's starting off, market yourself as that. And I think the beauty of it is you can find other people who are also starting off, and it's like you both can grow together. And that's kind of like your equal. Sometimes people prefer somebody who has more experience so they can learn from it. And typically the people who are learning from somebody who has more knowledge, could find an incentive in following them and excel quickly, because sometimes that's the importance of surrounding yourself around people who are your equal
and also
advanced.
Yeah.
I think the beauty of, and someone, I don't know where I heard this, but having a mentor, having an equal, and having a mentee is like the best triple stack that you can have.
A triple threat of expanding your everything, because you're hitting it at all angles.
Exactly.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, like, ever. And I guess I've had somewhat of experience with that, especially with like drop shipping and stuff. Like I've had people who I've learned from. I've had the mentors who I've learned from, and then I've had people who are in the same boat as me or who are stuck on the same question about how to set up TikTok shop or how to, what's the best winning product, like dumb stuff like that. And then also eventually the hundreds of people who I mentored every single day. It was like the best triple threat. So that's why that's like my one best marketable sphere of knowledge that I can talk your head off about. But that could be, I guess, yeah, that's a great way to frame it. And you can take that into any sphere of your life where you want to improve on.
So that's why I teach what I teach. I've put in the hours. I put in the fucking work. And I know this because, bro, I remember blood, sweat, and tears. That's all I'm gonna say. Like I've been to the gym, and I've been through my fucking time through physical therapy because I didn't stretch or I did something wrong and I fucking hurt myself. I've achieved a pretty aesthetic body. I've been through so much heartache that I know what it takes to be a man to attract women, quality women. I know what it's like to be disciplined because so many times I haven't. And I've disappointed myself and I've fucking hated myself, etc., etc. So I think that's the beauty of it. Seeing it in the long term, you kind of look back at it, and that's what it takes to become the mentor to some, and with also always being the student.
That's a good point. And actually, it's reflected in your like authenticity and how much you can just, lay down a bunch of advice for someone who's a beginner. Not even in life, but maybe in a certain subset of their life. Like, I just want to improve my physical body, right? You can actually, almost like a doctor, diagnose exactly where they are in your journey because you're higher up on the mountain than them. And so you can pretty much say, okay, you're at this part of the mountain and this is how, this is where the path is to get to where I am. And you can see it, but they can't because they're not higher up on that mountain than you. So you can almost diagnose exactly where they are because you can relate back to when you were at that point. And then you can say, well, I tried these things to get to where I am and they didn't work. So you're almost like, chopping through the vines and spreading open the pathway for them to actually see the light forward and to not have to run into the same pitfalls and, landmines that you ran into on your way up. So that's where, and we can maybe make a last discussion point about the difference of learning and actually applying. Because I think a lot of people, they spend all of their days on all of their hours, on YouTube and just learning, and they never apply it. They just are in this perpetual state of absorbing as much knowledge as possible before they feel like they feel like they're ready to do it. And a lot of people talk about this, but if you can get in a state where you have a perfect, like just a dialed in balance, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but just the most dialed in balance of learning shit, and then having set times through your day where you say, okay, enough learning, I'm literally just going to try whatever it is that I learned, no matter how bad I fail, just fucking try, and learn while you try as well. It doesn't mean that you have to just like shut your brain off, but to actually apply all the shit that you learned on YouTube and from your mentors in real life to have that testing cycle. So then you can go back and reanalyze and look at a macroscopic point of view of where you fucked up and where you can actually go back in to the fire. It's kind of like, what is it called? Forging a sword. It's got to take some time out to like cool off and to be reshaped and to hammer out all the kinks before it can go back into the fire and see places where it's needing to be improved to the maximum capability.
Exactly. And oh yeah, you said it. That's what I teach. That's what I promote. That's what I like. Going out, learning things. First off, having a lesson, that's practical. And encouraging my audience members or just people in general, or maybe myself if I'm learning it, to then go out and test it.
Yeah.
And that's great, having an experience. I think that is like level 1. Level 2 is reflecting, reviewing the experience. Because I heard that, and I think that experience doesn't come necessarily completely from experience. It comes from reviewing and reflection.
That's a great point.
Because if you just do something and you keep doing the same mistake, you're not fucking learning from it. Like, idiot. But yes, I believe that having the reflection process is important. I remember my sophomore year, two years ago, I would watch like these how to talk to girls videos, and I was in some random building that didn't have class in one of the classrooms by myself, and I was just like listening to, okay. And
Did you apply it?
The times that no, so I'll tell you, when I first started watching the videos, I applied some of it, but I didn't apply a lot of it. When I started applying it, and when I just started saying, fuck this, let me just experience it, fuck the videos, let me just, and reflect from it on top of that, bro, it's just like amplified progress.
Most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't even know. I like to say this a lot, but someone can watch NBA basketball games their whole fucking life and still suck ass at playing basketball the first time they step on the court. They can be analyzing basketball all day long and still totally suck and still not actually know how to shoot a basketball or have that court vision because they're just constantly looking at it from that macroscopic lens of seeing both teams play and not just kind of being, I don't want to say like mindless about it, but just kind of just watching it unfold without true analysis of them actually being in game. So that's where it's different. If you're actually playing in game and then afterwards you look at the film, that's a whole different game. But if you're just constantly watching other people do what you're trying to eventually do, you're going to suck on day one no matter what. So just like being open to sucking is the quickest way forward, but people's egos are too big for that, man.
Right.
People's egos are too big to openly suck at something and to have someone tell them they're trash, to trust the process.
It's all about it. And that's why some people don't even talk to girls. I remember watching this thing, and it was like pretty relatable. Oh, okay. Let me just be more specific. I remember watching James Bond, Casino Royale.
That's cool.
And James Bond was this cold killer guy at the beginning of the movie. And as the movie advanced, he opened up to, remind me of the lady's name. Vesper.
Yeah.
And
like that.
He opened up to Vesper, knowing that she might dump him or do him wrong.
Fucking kill him. Okay.
Actually, excuse me, I got that wrong. He opened up to Vesper and didn't acknowledge that he might be backstabbed or something, or maybe she breaks up with him or cheats on him or something. And at the end of the movie, if you watch Casino Royale, James Bond, there's a scene where he's on a boat, and I don't know, the lady with the gray hair who, I don't know, calls him. And first, some context, spoiler alert, like watch the movie, I recommend it, is James Bond found out the plot was Vesper was like some chick who was hired by the bad guys.
She's an app.
Yeah, she was an op, and she actually backstabbed his ass, stole all of the money from the casino betting game that they played, and the lady called him, and on the boat he said something like, I don't know, he was cold as fuck. The lady said, "Oh, are you good?" And like, I know you kind of fell in love with this lady. You wanted to have a life with her. You stopped being an agent at whatever.
He got soft.
He got soft. And at the end he got cold. He was like on the boat. He was like, the bitch is dead. And he just hung up. And you could what I extrapolated from that is he did not open himself up to being hurt. He didn't have the strength to understand that with love comes the possibility of heartbreak, heartache, which I call it, and just devastation. And I think not having that control can turn you to that James Bond cold guy at the end of the movie. So what I'm getting at is you have to acknowledge things. If you learn stuff in real life experiences, you have to understand that you might get hurt, but you can't just put up the barriers and become cold. You have to understand that with growth comes the possibility of rejection, discomfort, and hurt. You just have to have the strength to keep going because it's worth it. Because if it's in a relationship, because the affection is worth it. If it's in business, because the growth is worth it. Mm-hmm. If it's the gym, because getting bigger muscles is worth possibly injuring yourself. It's just the journey.
Or just hurting your muscles in the short term.
Yeah.
God is good.
God is good. And one thing I'll say is I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen right now. Y'all, if you want to hear what I was talking about, my ideal man kind of tree and branches, to give you an idea of what you might want to work on to become a better, well-rounded, respected man, check out the QR code. I don't know if I'm just going to do the link straight to the whatever I put, Google Doc or whatever, or if I put the QR code where you need to put your email in so you get emailed. Yeah. An email with it so I can then have your email and eventually sell you shit.
Oh,
I'm being upfront.
Get fucked.
I'm being upfront because, listen, business moves.
Marketing.
It's a part of the game. So you can't hate the player, hate the game. I'm being upfront. I'm telling you what you're getting yourself into. If you don't want to buy my shit, don't buy my shit. Yeah. I'm not forcing you. Yeah. So do the QR code, email, get the thing. I'll send you emails after it. So boom, expectations set. You know what to expect.
All right, my friends. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe the video. Comment down below what your favorite color is and what you are struggling with, so Zachary Therios Sudal can make a banger video about it, and so he can include another course module in a possible upcoming mentorship with Zachary Theory sitting on top of the Japanese mountain with the nice rose petals falling from the sky. And you'll meet him there on top of Wudon Mountain, and he will teach you the way of the superior man.
See you then.
Mama!